No, I'm sorry. I'm like deep in this article right now, y'all. My bad. My bad. Hey,
It has
Patriot
been
fam.
one of those days so far. Oh my God.
Is it Tuesday or Wednesday? What day is it?
I love that you're here and I love the pink.
Listen. We have a speaking engagement and we had to stick true to the brand. It's hot pink. It is what it is.
Do you not like the brand?
I do. I love the brand. I mean,
We've been.
thank you all for joining us this Tuesday morning. It is Trump Tuesday, like we like to say. Hey, on Open Mic with Allie and Michelle. Thank you guys for joining us from wherever it is on the planet you are joining us from, whether you are listening on Spotify, thank you, Spotify, or you are listening on X or YouTube or Rumble or wherever it is.
All the places.
We thank
or
you.
even thank you to our production team. Thank
That
you
part.
to Kevin and David and all
Patriot.
everybody out there. Patriot, we're so grateful. Guys, if you're not already, make sure you follow at Real Allie Leger, at Michelle Posey on all social media platforms, and at Open Mic Ladies. That's probably how you found us. We've got a packed show today. We're going to talk about potential drone strikes as we wage war on the cartels, criminal organizations throughout South America, Central America, and Mexico. We're going to talk about the Weiner laptop.
Oh, Lord.
And that doesn't sound like a lot of fun, but
I mean, it depends on who you're talking about.
Depends on who you're talking about. We're going to name the name of the machines, the voting machines.
Are we?
We're not going to say it, but somebody else did, and we're going to let them handle the potential lawsuit because we're not doing that. We're not doing it ourselves. Plus, Trump defends prayer in school. A lot of people are saying that he is having an enlightenment of really questioning, hey, am I going to spend eternity in heaven? And what does that look like with God's calling on my life right now? This is a good place to be, America. We're glad that you joined us on Open Mic. Let's go ahead and open the mic.
Where we started, we're wearing our red hat tonight. It takes more than just a feeling. Oh, better be believing, and America's gonna be home.
What do you do when they try to cancel you? MAGA Nation, we cancel proof. My red hat stays on. My red hat stays on. You know I love God, but in Trump I trust. November 5th, you gon' ride with us. Our red hat stays on. Our red hat stays on. It's the mayor MAGA, the RNC King. 2024, freedom gon' ring. This the red, white, and blue. I'm still fighting for each one of you. And keep your red hat on.
What do you do when they come for you? Freedom's what you
All right, y'all, slide into our comments, not our DMs, because I don't answer those. Y'all are wild. So,
Oh my God. Listen, you want to do this?
Wow.
No.
They're just wild. Okay. So Lord help me, Jesus.
So we know. Okay,
one of them
hold on.
things
So
today.
can we just be honest with our audience for a quick second?
Sure.
'Cause-
Aren't we always honest?
Did you just get?
I did.
Jersey Shore on me?
I got a little New York. Sure.
Okay, sure.
Sure.
So here in the beautiful sunshine state of Florida, where everybody is now moving, it's a little difficult during season to navigate, and school being back in session, to navigate the time it takes to get here. Now, Allie travels much longer and further than I do. She must leave her house like hours in advance, and God
It's like
bless
an
you.
hour and a half with traffic.
But for me, it's always been 30 minutes to get here. This is now the third or fourth time that it has.
It's been about an hour.
They're like doing sound check, and I'm pulling in, and it's so it. I was frazzled. I was frazzled getting in here, and then we have we have a speaking engagement coming up, and we were frazzled talking about it, and so.
But so this brings me to the point of like where we have representatives that are calling for people to flee their democratic run states and to hide from socialism. But as a service member, prior service member, somebody that has served our nation in many aspects, I don't like that we're encouraging Americans to run. These colors don't run. You don't remember that?
No, they don't bleed and they don't run.
Right. You don't remember that slogan? Like, I really think the reason why these Democrat socialists like Mamdani is able to kind of elevate himself in New York City is because there's been people that have fled their state.
That's how we get people like Ilhan Omar. And we're like, how do these people keep getting reelected? Well, because that area now is it's such a confined area of, I wouldn't say all of them are extremists, but you've got really that they sympathize with sort of, Islam.
Yeah,
the
terrorists.
religion.
They sympathize with terrorists, whether they're drug cartels or
tried.
from a different area.
Patriot, did you see
No,
that
yes,
try?
no.
That's me choking on my filter.
No, there's no
Screw
filter.
the filters. Screw the
Yes,
filters.
no
So anyway,
filters.
that's how you get Elon Omar. That's how you get
Right.
AOC.
And I get it. It's like a great sign because Florida is leading the way. We are the tip of the spear in the nation. I get that.
Yeah.
However, we need to encourage you, the people, we the people, to stay and fight. Because if there's no fight in you, you can't come to Florida.
Because
Florida
we're going to
fights.
need you to fight here. Because I was just at a meeting last night, MAGA Patriots Conservatives right here where we live, talking about this very topic we think that we have this huge supermajority, but really here in the state of Florida, only the DMV is registering voters. That means our party is not actively engaging in voters. Now, I'm not saying the party's doing nothing. I really don't know what they're doing, so I don't want to speak out of turn. But they're not actively engaging the independent base. And so that's an issue because it wasn't that long ago states like Florida were considered swing states. It's only been in the last few years, courtesy of Governor DeSantis and others. But your state can swing in a heartbeat. It really can. I want to start, Allie, with talking about this war on Department of War, creating war on the cartels and declaring them terrorist organizations. This has a huge effect on why people navigated here across an open border during Biden-Harris to come here. We said we were supposed to have open, bleeding hearts for these people because they were escaping just these awful areas in Central America. Well, no, what Trump wants to do is go and eradicate the drug cartels and the criminal organizations that are wreaking havoc in these areas. Take a listen to Trump. We're just going to play a small portion and then we'll talk about it.
Fox News alert, we're at war. This enemy, they don't wear a uniform. They're moving fentanyl by the truckload.
I want you to look at the contraband that's in front of me. We have 20 kilograms of fentanyl that's in front of me on this table. That's enough to kill 10 million people. The work that we do is to protect people and make sure that we remove these weapons and drugs off of our streets and hold those criminals accountable who would go forward and continue to use that to harm individuals.
We can bring it back, David.
Cartels are now
When she said that surreal amount of fentanyl, you know what I thought of?
What?
Our water supply.
Mm.
I mean, how safe are we here if that kind of drugs are coming across our border and that can kill 10 million people? You're telling me that if you didn't, I'm not giving anybody ideas. I'm just saying if it makes you wonder, you can't tell me somebody else hasn't already thought of that. And so what are we doing to actively, this is why Trump is doing this, because we cannot continue to have this poison leaking across.
Well, and I was actually having this conversation in Space last night, David Pollock's Space, after his show, the David Pollock Show aired on Patriot.tv, which he is a partner of ours. So, hey, David, thanks a lot. So yeah, if you're not watching that show, you definitely need to. If you're not following him at David Pollock USA,
you're missing out.
You will get notifications every time he goes live. So we were in a space last night. We were discussing how a lot of people, well, I don't want to say a lot of people, but the 20%, the left, right? We're not even going to call them Democrats because they're left now. The left they're complaining that they don't want this kind of like the National Guard to come in. They don't want like martial law to exist within America. That is not what is happening when President Trump is sending in the National Guard into some of these cities. Now, he's not doing it forcefully. He's saying that if, Chicago wants the help, they can ask for the help. We're here.
You have to invite
them. There was a point that was made by a friend of mine. His name is Patrick. And I think the same way he does in this aspect. Mm-hmm. When you label the drug cartels as terrorists, and we've had an open border, where do you think the drugs are coming from in these inner cities? They're coming from the drug cartels that have come across the border.
Yeah.
So they're already infiltrated into our cities that have defunded the police. They have cashless bail, right?
They're doing race-based plea bargaining.
Right.
Which is crazy.
So they're doing all of these things to keep the crime the way it is. They're not actively trying to get rid of the crime and the criminals. But when you have the president of the United States who declares these cartels, these drug cartels, as terrorist organizations, that means we are at war with terrorists, drug cartels here in America.
Yeah.
So we have a right to send the National Guard to protect and to help the local police.
Well, if I love how you say that, Ellie. If you think about this as any other war footing, first you would protect your homeland, you would protect the mainland here. But tell me that if we were at war with, let's say, China, tell me we would not have active engagement on China's borders as well, China's
1,000%.
land. And so you have to take the war to where the enemy is. And to be honest, behind closed doors, you've got governments like in Mexico that are secretly really kind of saying thank you, President Trump, because you've got mayors like in DC, they screamed and hollered when he came in with the National Guard, but what did the mayor actually end up saying? Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, this is something we can possibly maintain.
She understands what is going on. She understands that having these drug cartels completely take over their city is not conducive to helping anybody. It doesn't help small business owners. It doesn't help schools. It doesn't help our first responders. It doesn't help our education system.
Sure.
Our hospitals are overrun. Like this is what happens.
Schools, everything. Yeah. And this brings us, we just kind of alluded to it a little bit. This is, graduating from that to the problems that we're having within our inner cities, really within a lot of our blue run, whether you want to call them the whole state, or you probably have a major city, even if you're a red state somewhere that is run by leftist Marxist Democrat. So I love this because the Attorney General for Civil Rights, Harmeet Dillon, she actually ran for the RNC chair a few years ago. We love her. She is talking about announcing a federal investigation in that incident that happened in Charlotte, where we had the young Ukrainian woman that was massacred. She said she's looking into other cities that might have race-based prosecution. We're going to listen to just a portion of this and we'll get your reaction.
Can you summarize right now just what you are looking at here in Charlotte? Like, what are the things? I know that we're close on time here and that we have a limit on time, but given that President Trump just brought it up 3 times in his comments, talking about this brutal and animalistic violence that we see against our citizens and against refugees, what makes this whole thing kryptonite, frankly, for the left is that she is a refugee of Ukraine and war. She was here seeking security, and of course, found that the policies of woke restorative justice were deadlier than a war zone in Ukraine, arguably.
Yeah, well, we do not comment on ongoing investigations in any detail, but like I said, I am looking at other cities for their race-based prosecution. And, if there are law enforcement officials in Charlotte who have information about similar race-based arrest patterns, prosecution patterns, or plea agreements in that city that favor one race over the other or others, then we would very much want to hear about that, because that would be a due process and equal protection issue and illegal.
We can bring it back, Dave.
Under our
illegal under the civil rights.
Now, we did find out because the DC police union came out and did admit that they had seen some faltering reporting on their crime statistics. They actually would plea something down from a more powerful charge. And so even in
they
DC,
plea it down to like a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
Which
and then that tells you that the crime numbers and statistics in DC weren't even really what
they weren't
as bad as we thought. They were worse.
Yeah, they're much worse, and it's almost like that. I think almost everywhere that is run by these crazy Marxists.
And that's why we have to be careful, guys. That's why your school boards are so important, because under the Obama administration, there was a belief that the reason why we had problems in our prison systems was because there was this imaginary pipeline to prison, that somehow a child that gets in trouble in middle school and high school maybe gets expelled from school is obviously more likely to commit a crime. And so they thought, well, the problem is, that schools are now becoming a pipeline to prison with that mentality. So let's just not report or underreport the crime when they're in school. And that's not helping.
And this is what is crazy about the left, right? So I kind of want to break this down a little bit. A lot of times their arguments are right. There is a pipeline for prison, from school to prison. but it's not due to the child being expelled. It's due to the child not being properly educated.
Yes.
Because if you can't read by the time you're in 4th grade, you're going to cause problems in school.
Yes.
And that then once you do that and it becomes a habitual problem, it's a habit, it's now become a character trait, and there is no kind of consequence after that. Like when you get in trouble, there's no consequence. Like with restorative justice, you're just conflating and you're increasing the school to prison pipeline. So when the Democrats say things and they acknowledge the problem, yes, the problem is actually real, but their solution to the problem actually makes the problem worse.
Absolutely. Did you know, Allie, that there's almost 87% of our schools throughout the country have students that cannot read.
Yeah.
So if you can't read, you're obviously not trying to remember back to when you were in school, when you felt the most engaged in a learning environment.
Oh, none of my kids do now.
It was when you got it and you felt like you were a part of it. And so you have to be very careful because our schools, the 87%, I'm sorry, I'm going to correct myself. Not that the students can't read. That may very well be true, but they took phonics as the main teacher of reading out, and they are doing word association. I've always believed that both work. You should be able to sight read and
you know what also
phonics.
the problem is? What the problem also is, we can't, words, they're hard today. Sentences, forgive me, it's fine.
I thought my coffee.
Yeah, right, forgive me. So the other issue that we're facing with schools is you had the No Child Left Behind.
That left a bunch of people behind.
No, they were able to, obviously they are behind, but it created this false sense of confidence that, you know, and then it only ends up leading to just your emotions because you have no intellectual ability to argue a point. Instead, you're just leading with your emotions. So all of this is a big, giant, circular thing to divide and create a weaker people, because
let's not forget too, they infiltrated our schools with social emotional learning. Sounds real warm and
we're
fuzzy,
still
doesn't it?
teaching that here in Pharma, you guys.
Social emotional learning. This is, getting all in your feels because math can really, it can be racist. And so this is why it's so important. We announced this yesterday. Moms for America is leading a call to action to say, listen, you can opt out of this kind of garbage within your school systems. Don't rely on the district. Don't rely on the teachers. Don't even rely on the school board or superintendent to get you the knowledge that you need to opt your child out of this garbage. You can go where on Moms for America to get that?
MomsForAmerica.com, and it is right there. As soon as you open the website, it's bing right there.
We love you, moms. Moms for America, thank you for what you do. All right, so if I told you that $5 billion was missing, if I had $5 billion, first of all, I would still be here because I would still do this. Our set would look different. Like dun dun dun. No, but if we had $5 billion and then like all of a sudden it was just gone from our business, do you think that maybe somebody would knock on our door and say, "Excuse me, here"?
Absolutely.
Okay, so President Trump just dropped this post about Democrats involving in a $5 billion money laundering scheme. Can't make this up. Take a look.
I'm Christina Awayo in Dallas, and here are your top stories. Democrats in Michigan are caught up in a $5 billion fraud scheme that was siphoning taxpayer dollars. The scheme was uncovered by House Republicans. The accusations, which have sparked outrage, center on the discovery of more than 4,000 fake phantom jobs, allegedly used to siphon taxpayer dollars into non-existent programs, questionable gender surgeries for prisoners, and dubious arts and culture grants. House GOP investigators claim to have identified the thousands of fake job positions created to justify budget allocations that never materialized into actual employment. Critics argue this was a deliberate tactic to funnel public money back to Democrats, bypassing accountability and oversight. This as multiple claims come in over fiscal mismanagement under Democrat control, led by Governor Gretchen Whitmer, with the Michigan state budget ballooning to more than $82 billion. That's the largest in state history. That's what you need to know.
I'm just going to say this is like USAID and that money laundering scheme on the federal level. It's like it's in your state, guys. It's in your state somewhere. I mean, this is crazy. Creating almost 4,000 jobs that are non-existent. This is why COVID was so important, because they sent you to work from home. How many federal employees did we realize were not actually working anymore? But how do you know? Because you never see them in an office.
But God forbid you filed for a PPE loan and miscalculated because then you got fired and then you got threatened with jail time and you had to pay it all back. Meanwhile, our government can create jobs that don't actually exist, resulting in over $82 billion being put into things that don't advance Americans, don't advance American interests, don't work for Americans. Like, it's all for NGOs and putting it all in their own pocket. It's money laundering.
It's money laundering.
But that's okay.
And I don't care how much fabric softener you use, it still hurts.
It's okay.
This is not okay.
Because our government does it, but you can't do it.
So
don't you do it.
The good news is this was the House Democrats in Michigan that fought this. So you need to have the ear of your state legislators. Obviously, Michigan is blue. I won't even say purple anymore. It's blue. Thanks to Detroit and other areas. Remember when they
green and red and black. Is that what it is? Green, red, and black?
Because they drove the car industry out of Detroit. They bankrupted the auto industry, and then those hoods, nobody wants to occupy them, but those from the Middle East and Somalia, they'll come right on in. So guys, this is happening in your own backyard. Make sure that you're doging
and building relationships.
Absolutely. And here's a perfect example. Letitia James obviously is on very thin ice right now. She's been exposed for mortgage fraud with Citizens Bank back in 2021. It takes a really brazen person to try to prosecute the former president of the United States on something that she herself has done. That's the kind of narcissist we're dealing with in this new blue party that we're not even called.
It's saying that she was misrepresenting her 5-unit Brooklyn building as a single-family home to secure $200,000 in credit. Wow.
So there's a difference between income producing property that is a multi-dwelling unit and something that's just a single family home. She obviously would know something like this, being an attorney.
Well, it according to Benny Johnson in his investigation, it says that it allowed her to avoid higher commercial loan costs and interest rates. So this is illegal under the New York Penal Code 187.20 and loan fraud over $50,000 in second-degree mortgage fraud, a Class C felony.
The question we're going to ask:
16 years in prison. Do you think she'll get it?
Well, that was the question. I mean, I think we should see a mugshot. We should see how she looks in her clink. I'm not talking about bracelets.
Yeah, we are talking about.
Well, not those kind of bracelets.
Silver ones
that come with a key, guys,
and not the expensive ones. That you get from never mind.
With fur?
Louis Vuitton.
I'm not gonna go. Louis Vuitton. Guys, we've got so much more. We are going to talk about the Weiner laptop. We're going to talk about it here. If you don't know what that is, wow, you really want to stay tuned. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Don't go anywhere.
Comment below. Thanks, guys.
We'll be right back with more Open Mic after this break.
From the heart of Marietta, Georgia, comes a tribute to the spirit of liberty. Liberty Cigars, where history meets craftsmanship. Each cigar tells a story. The Founders Collection honors the visionaries who shaped a nation. The President's House Collection celebrates the leaders who steered it. And the Naval Series salutes the heroes who defended it. Handcrafted with precision, each blend mirrors the essence of its namesake. From the boldness of George Washington to the elegance of Thomas Jefferson. Indulge in a moment of reflection. Light a Liberty cigar and savor the legacy. Discover your story at libertycigars.com because every great nation deserves a great cigar. Liberty Cigars, smoke the history. And don't forget to use promo code OpenMic for 10% off your order.
Gold IRA companies are a dime a dozen, especially in conservative media. We vetted out 34 companies and chose Augusta Precious Metals.
With the lowest across-the-board spreads in the gold IRA industry, Augusta saves Americans thousands of dollars.
They are the only major gold IRA company that has zero complaints from their customers. Zero. None.
Augusta Precious Metals does not have commissioned sales reps, which means their goals are aligned with yours.
They were the only gold IRA company that demonstrated integrity and transparency without using gimmicks.
The informative one-on-one web conferences by Augusta Precious Metals answer all of their customers' questions before they make a move.
If you're ready to learn about protecting your wealth and retirement with gold and silver, request your free gold guide from Augusta Precious Metals today.
Visit patriot.tv/gold. That's patriot.tv/gold today.
two women in the studio were like
fixing our hair, looking in the van,
making sure things are tucked in.
Right. I can't with this mic. Look, if it's distracting, I apologize. Get over it. You'll be fine.
Get over your feels.
Yeah. No.
Hey, Allie, the Weiner laptop. I know you guys are asking what in the world is she talking about. It is not Oscar Mayer related. Anthony Weiner, he is a former United States representative.
Why you went there? It didn't go the other way. Which is why our camera guy is like dying back here, hiding behind his camera.
You think it's easy to
hide
work
behind
with.
his laptop? It's so funny. I love it.
And this is We Are Your Therapist.
Listen, it is a great day when you can make your production team laugh during your show. It is a great day.
I'm here to please. Does it not surprise you that Anthony Weiner is in fact I can't stop saying that, is a former United States representative? I feel like I'm in school where they're like, don't say that word. I'm like, I'm gonna keep saying it. But this is the shocking thing. His spouse is Huma Abedin. Huma Abedin was Hillary Clinton's right-hand lady. He had issues with his laptop. There were things on his laptop that would get you kicked out of church. Let's just put it to you that way. But a lot of people said, just like Hunter Biden's laptop, that it was non-existent. Don't worry about it. There's no, it's not real. There's no kitty images on there. There's no, and I don't mean meow images, kitty, okay, anyway. So now John Solomon, who I love, John is,
he is on fire.
He is on fire. He is talking specifically about the Anthony Weiner laptop. It's coming back full circle into the news media. We're not going to go silent here on it. Take a listen.
We have some more huge news to get in front of you from inside the FBI. Just the News has learned that the Bureau has opened an investigation under Director Kash Patel into whether its own agents obstructed or interfered with politically sensitive cases such as those involving Hillary Clinton, Hunter Biden, and President Trump. Now, think about this. Normally, the FBI is investigating other people like witnesses who obstructed justice, but in this case, it's looking at their own people. Now, this follows all of the reporting we have done exposing the alleged improper behavior and actions from key officials around the Russiagate scandal, such as former FBI Director James Schumer, former CIA Director John Brennan, as well as reporting we brought to you involving investigations to Hillary Clinton being stopped by both the FBI and the IRS. Remember that line? Shut it down? Sounds a lot like obstruction, doesn't it? Now the FBI is internally investigating. It all stems from material uncovered in prohibited access case files. So that's a wordful, but it's an FBI term for politically sensitive investigations that most agents aren't allowed to access, even when they're working on the case. They basically keep the materials off the books, which makes it hard for Congress to do its oversight authority. Now, we know all of this because officials familiar with the matter told Just the News that some FBI employees memorialized concerns they had about conduct from FBI supervisors or case agents. In fact, we got some of these memos. One of these memos involves the discovery of Anthony Weiner's laptop. And in that case, we now know that the deputy director, Andrew McCabe, in the fall of 16, knew about it in September, but slow walked it for a month alongside of other agents. Sources have telling us now that a grand jury has been impaneled to look at this, and that some of the evidence is going to be turned over in a bombshell notification to Congress later this month.
Later this month, Get your popcorn ready. This is crazy. We're not going to talk about what allegedly is on that laptop. There's been rumors circulating, and we're not going to become a part of the rumor mill. But guys, there will be shocking and damning implications from this laptop that we were told didn't exist, kind of like Hunter Biden's laptop. Grateful that John Solomon is taking a huge leap to talk about this,
and it sounds like it's a cover up. And so, what happens when there's a cover up, right? That's a conspiracy. A conspiracy, when you label it that, it does not meet, what is that? The statute of limitations. There's no statute of limitations for conspiracy. So that's exactly what this was. When you have incriminating evidence and then you hide it on purpose so that the oversight committee does not do their job or can't do their job, or you slow walk it on purpose so it doesn't get done, like you are participating in conspiracy.
It's like the FBI should be on an episode of Hoarders. We should just see what else we can uncover.
What else are you hiding? Like, this is crazy. And the amount of information that's coming out from the FBI and DNI is quite alarming to the everyday American. I mean, I don't think you and I are pretty shocked at all by any of this.
At this point,
anybody that we know that's involved in politics or even in media or journalism, We're not shocked, but
excited to see some of the things finally come out because
hopefully there's some accountability though.
Absolutely. And people, listen, we were just talking about this last night. There are people that have talked about these things a long time, Allie, like you and I, that have been literally blacklisted from some party politics things because we dared to talk about it. And it's a little bit of vindication, but only if we really see follow through. Let's talk a little bit about voting machines. So 99%, if not 100% of the nation, when you go to the polling location to cast your ballot, whether it's a primary or general election, you get that paper ballot, you kind of fill out the ovals. You better hope that you know how to fill in an oval like all the way and correctly, because it's just like the machines in school. It won't read it correctly. You go and you think, okay, I've done my due diligence. And then the person says, feed it through this thing. And I'm like, oh, every time I'm like, can't you just count it here? Because I don't, it's a machine and but you feed it through the machine. Well, we've been told there's nothing to see here. Machines are working. Machines always work, right? I'm sure you never have to restart your computer or have an issue with your television or the computer chip in your car. All that, nothing ever malfunctions. Everything's fine.
Hold up, wait. When you take your SAT, and when you take your assessments in school, right, the teacher has to literally go through every single test and annotate the test. She doesn't run it through a machine to do it for her or him. You have to sit there with 37, however many students you have, to go through that test to make sure it's correct. Everything is filled out properly. Yep. Why are we not doing that with our elections? Why are we allowing machines to take the place of humans to do the work when machines have been known to be faulty?
Well, it gets better. A constitutional sheriff. I love our constitutional sheriff.
I love that.
Back in 2020, his name is Sheriff Darleaf. He has released evidence linking, insert the machine name here, the voting systems, that their employees are traced back. So a lot of the work is being done in Serbia.
Say what?
With Chinese officials.
Say what?
Hey, you want to talk about bringing jobs back to the U.S.? How about we start with making so when these machines go through and get their certification to show that they work and they're up to speed, they're up to par. You would think that happens maybe here. Maybe we have like some kind of voting department or some kind of safety, maybe FBI, some kind of department. No, it's done overseas, and they actually have proof now that they have falsified the certificate of like authenticity of these voting machines. I'm not saying the name here, but there is a country band that's got the same name. But let's take a listen.
On Thursday, Sheriff Darleaf made public at least 4 pages of evidence that Dominion voting machine employees and agents in Serbia were in contact with Chinese nationals to alter firmware that operates inside America's election equipment. Now, why would they do this? Well, they probably did this in order to fake the certification of our voting machines. According to Sheriff Leaf in his post, Dominion wanted Chinese nationals who worked for Hewlett-Packard to modify our election firmware, and then they basically tested the fake stuff outside of the United States. I just want you to understand how important this is, okay? This is a bombshell discovery because it proves, without a shadow of a doubt, that hostile foreign nations are conspiring, modifying our election systems in order to cheat and change the results of elections to their preferred candidates. The leaked emails also confirmed the location of Dominion Voting Systems offices in Belgrade, Serbia. You ask yourself, why Serbia? I asked that same question when I first was presented with the evidence. Here's why. Because Serbia is the westernmost outpost of China's influence in Europe. The CCP has a heavy presence in that tiny country. The emails contain the details about how components in our election systems were faked and parts were intentionally mislabeled so that they would appear to be compliant with our laws. This, folks, is the smoking gun material that our voting machines cannot be trusted. What else do we know about the election offices in Serbia? Well, here's Patrick Byrne explaining what happened there during the 2024 election.
Peter, I was surprised, but given that the president's lawyer went that far, I can confirm that that's the case, that the Serbian office, which really has been around for 20 years, no matter what name brand the computer is there in your nation running elections, underneath it's Serbia is it's connecting. That office got shut down for 5 days. I understand it got smoked. It got smoked, but in some kind of strange, somebody did take some action and neutralize that, which is the only reason we had a fair election.
Okay.
Bring it back,
So,
David. Bring it back. I got to, first of all,
that was funny.
Patrick Byrne.
I like Patrick.
Yeah, I don't know if you realize, but our office used to be his office. So,
I know.
But this is what's amazing about this is that Patrick Byrne has known this for a while, and he goes on in this interview to say that General Flynn said I could talk about it now. It's so
Oh, that's really
it's
cute.
very cute. But there has been a huge issue with talking about machines. I wanted to bring this out because Trump's talking about going to all paper ballots, one-day voting. You have to understand why this is needed.
Well, and so while the left was crying about Russia collusion in our, elections, but then also deny that our machines can be usurped, this is evidence to that our machines can be taken over, and the fact that we have a hostile foreign nation that not only has infiltrated our farmland, not only has infiltrated our schools, literally even our private schools that are educating our politicians' children, our textbooks, our elections, apparently,
all of our medications,
So the reason why there will not be a kinetic war brought to America is because they know behind every blade of grass there's a weapon.
Yes.
But unsuspecting Americans who are docile, who are dependent on medicine, who are unhealthy, they can't read or write, they're weak-minded, they have no courage, they have no hope, they have no strive, they're completely distracted. That is an easy way to take over a nation. But a well-informed people that are well-equipped with information, that understand proper roles and responsibilities, and are able to wield our political power to apply it at the appropriate political pressure points in order to move the needle to protect ourselves, not to protect government, but to protect ourselves.
Absolutely.
That is what the problem is. So when, I would like to say, maybe tongue-in-cheek, are we going to admit that we are currently in a Cold War with China?
Well, listen, we've learned, if you followed anything that General Michael Flynn has said over the last 8 years,
let's not forget fentanyl, because that's coming from there too.
Absolutely. Well, yes. What we've learned through Flynn is that what our government government has done through our military is create these color revolutions in other countries. They're really good at doing it. They are really good at producing the outcome they want in another country because we don't like the leader. We want somebody else to be installed. So what, pray tell, do you think is going to happen in this country when somebody like Trump comes along and they're like, we really don't want him in there? You don't think they would try it here on our soil? And this is the thing. We have been deplatformed in so many ways over the last 6 years for even trying to attempt to talk about this. I love that this came from Lindell TV. That might ring a bell to you. Mike Lindell, My Pillow. He lost his fortune 2 times over, as well as a huge media company that's had to go down to just, a small
for simply finding out the information,
asking the question.
Asking the question.
And so I love that this gets brought out on his network. They're not afraid. They're like, go ahead,
might as well,
machine company, sue me because I do it again. I don't.
Right. These are the receipts, guys. I do kind of want to break in with a little bit of breaking news. Israel launched airstrikes in Doha, Qatar, targeting Hamas leadership, which is, I think, a great thing, in my opinion.
Listen, they
Hamas
have the right
to protect
themselves.
Right, they do. Hamas is a terrorist organization that is wreaking havoc in the Middle East, especially in Israel.
Well,
and in Palestine too.
And
That's just occupies Palestine.
Trump just said not that long ago, a couple days ago, that he's trying to reach out to Hamas and trying to reach out to Israel. He said Israel's accepted that his terms, Hamas has not. That's
right. Well,
sticking.
And if honestly, the left, if you want to free Palestine, you need to get rid of Hamas and the Houthis. Okay, that you need to get rid of the terrorist occupation that is there. If that's
stop being the bastard child of Iran, because that's all they
that
are,
part
and in their regime. So on this story, just want to let you know, Patrick Byrne explained in this story that Serbia, there's a Serbia connection. He calls out in this post here, Barack Obama and Joe Biden saying they used China, Serbia, Venezuela to influence Americans' elections.
It's like absolutely insane to me. Like how it is like why
that part right there.
Why?
The amount of time that we spend like
it's just because I can't like it's like the words are hard to get out because you don't want to like curse a million times. You know what I'm saying? But I'm so frustrated and so irritated at the fact that we have a voting machine that is supposed to help with our elections and it's being outsourced to a different nation.
Here's the thing.
How does that make any freaking sense?
Well, and it doesn't. And here's the thing. Even our local supervisor of elections, who is a good person, this isn't a shame to them.
No, it's not. You don't
talked about how our elections are fair, they're run well. We even here in the state of Florida outsource our election website to a third-party vendor that is not being held to the same standards that a third-party government contractor should be held to. When I ran for office, lost the election, but if I wanted to contest the results on the paperwork, I had to notate, who I'm actually, holding responsible for the portion that I want to contest. I can't hold responsible a machine. There's no precedence for that.
Yeah.
So you can't even really fairly, try to get any kind of retake or relook at an election because it's done by a machine. Listen, I don't want a machine to be by itself doing surgery. I don't want a machine by itself driving me down the freeway. I sure as hell don't want a machine by itself counting our elections.
With AI and tech, with the tech advancements that we have currently available to all of like the world, anything can be hacked. Anything can be hacked. The human mind can be through MK Ultra and like brainwashing, but
wait till you get the Neuralink.
I'm saying
they're gonna sell it as something really good.
But my point is that when you have humans doing human work, yes, there is such thing as called operator error. You can screw.
Why did she put me on that?
I'm just saying operator error.
She said operator error.
That is not what I meant. Oh my gosh. Someone is sensitive this morning. Anyway.
I'm in my feels. Deal with it.
I got you, girl. Well, tacos later. Okay. Tacos and tequila. We'll do that later. But to me, it just doesn't make sense why we would have, why we would replace the human eye with a machine that has to be done an algorithm and like oversight and all that. That's just, it's way more work than to just have a human look at it, annotate it, and that's it.
I want to make sure because our social media guru is reminding me that we need to let our viewers know about right after this show, we have a meet and greet here in Charlotte County, Florida. Check our website, openmicladies.com for that if you'd like us to visit you, because who wouldn't want this energy in the room to talk about how you can become activated on the local level and why you should never go silent again. If you would like us to come visit you, make sure you reach out to us on the contact tab at openmicladies.com.
I said tacos and my stomach started growling. I'm so hungry right now. It's insane.
You said tequila and my mind was like, no, we need some. We need to hydrate, ma'am. Hydrate.
Can we get promoted or sponsored by Casamigos? That would be nice. Or Tito Ortiz. We might actually get him on open mic here pretty soon.
Allegedly, that's what we're saying. So let's bypass the second commercial break because I want to talk about
libertycigars.com. Use promo code open mic for 10% off your order. Thank you. Smoke the history. There you go.
Smoke the history.
That was your commercial.
RFK Jr. RFK, did you know the Senate hearing that he was being slaughtered at the other day was because they were trying to defund his position?
Yes.
I couldn't believe that because of what he's doing. This is crazy.
They're also having a hearing today to talk about healthy children and healthy food, and they're going to go into a lot of this information.
Well, RFK Jr. exposed that taxpayers are paying $14 billion a year in duplicate enrollments in both Medicare and Medicaid, and then the money disappears. Take a listen to just a portion of what he testified to.
Under President Trump's leadership, we at HHS are enacting a once-in-a-generation shift from a sick care system to a true healthcare system that tackles the root causes of chronic disease. Chronic diseases reach crisis proportions in our country. And finally, we have an administration that is taking action. The Maha Report assessment, which the White House released in May, was the first government analysis of the key drivers of childhood chronic disease: ultra-processed foods, chemical exposures, physical inactivity, and over-medicalization.
We can bring it back
this
David.
month.
Wow, over-medicalization. A sick population cannot defend themselves.
Sick population, yeah. I mean, we've heard this even from those within the military that they're lowering the standards to join the military because a lot of our young people cannot pass what's necessary in order.
It's a national security issue. It's an education issue. It's a furthering of the American experiment issue. It is a problem when we have this kind of fraud taking place, this kind of over medicating and all of this. We are the sickest nation almost.
And we spend the most on healthcare. And so
wild.
What's important to know is that HHS is taking on baby formula contamination, food dyes, fluoride in the water, gas station, heroin, electronic cigarettes, so the vaping industry, drug prices, all of the above. This is why you have to make sure that you include somebody like RFK Jr. I'm breezing by it because I don't anyway.
Prior authorizations, information blocking. So like there's excessive screen time for you. Like this is crazy. So we also know that Medicaid and Medicare have been streamlining the pipeline for these children to be mutilated for their the sex change and the cross-sex hormones. It's easier. It was easier for, and I actually know someone that works in Medicaid. She's actually one of the approvers of these of Medicaid. So she says that it was easier for a child to get put on cross-sex hormones than it was for a woman to get a referral for breast cancer,
or for a diabetic to get the very expensive insulin.
Right.
That's crazy. Why is it that expensive? Like 40 years later, it's crazy. Well,
but your 4-year-old
can chop off their private parts. I know. RFK Jr. reveals also that the CDC found a link between vaccines and the autism risk being much higher. We're going to play just a portion of this and then we'll talk about it.
In 1999, CDC was also alarmed by the same thing that you described with the parents. So they decided to do an internal study of their own database, which is called the Vaccine Safety Data Link. It's the medical records, including the vaccination records, of 10 million kids from the 10 biggest HMOs. So it's all the cumulative medical records from all those HMOs, and they're all housed in one place. And they said, let's see if these mercury vaccines are causing autism. So they looked at one vaccine. They can look at every vaccine record, and then they can look at your medical claims to see if you had seizure disorders or allergies, or if you have an autism diagnosis. They can do a cluster analysis and they can look for associations. They looked at the hepatitis B vaccine, which is loaded with mercury during the first 30 days of life. They looked at kids who got it during the first 30 days. They compared them to kids who did not get it during the first 30 days, who got it later or didn't get it at all. And here's what they found. The relative risk of smoking a pack of cigarettes a day for 20 years and lung cancer is 10. This was 11.35. They knew.
Is that because of thimerosal?
Was causing from thimerosal. This is what the story that got me involved, because they pushed the panic button and they had a secret meeting. They didn't want to do it on the CDC camp.
Real quick, because we'll talk about it. So they're talking about thimerosal.
Yeah.
Now, if we have a U.S. Surgeon General warning on the back of every cigarette. It says this has been known to link to cancer. What you choose to do with that is up to you. Now we're understanding that the risk of autism due to the mercury and thimerosal in our vaccines is actually a higher risk of causing autism than what is listed on the pack of cigarettes. When are we going to get sick and tired of blank inserts and mandates telling you that you have to inject this into your arm? And I know we're running out of time. Allie, you shared this with me. Mm-hmm. Watch this video. This is an older video of how they're talking about thimerosal, that ingredient that RFK Jr. is talking about. Take a listen.
Show them the thimerosal bomb, which we keep in a metal container because we're a little afraid of it, and it's a very fine powder.
This is thimerosal, which is labeled very toxic, has cumulative effects, can cause damage to the kidneys, to the respiratory system, skin, to the nervous system. Specifically warns on here that it can cause reproductive and developmental toxicity, meaning that it can cause things like autism and other neurodevelopmental disorders. This is immensely toxic stuff.
Bring it back, David.
And this is.
But the moms were called crazy. We were told to stay away. Politicians were told to stay away from the crazy moms. And then in 1986, we gave them immunity, meaning you can't sue them. And
under
they know
Reagan,
it.
under Reagan. I'm sorry I love Reagan, but come on.
So listen, if you really want to take a deep dive into what all of this is and how Bobby Kennedy Jr. got involved and why he got involved, you need to go to vaxedmovie.com. It is also available on YouTube, which I'm surprised about. How did that even happen? How is that even still on there?
That's amazing.
So you can go Vaxxed, and there's a second one, Vaxxed 2, where it discusses COVID, the COVID jab. These are important documentaries. Why? Because they're not from the pharmaceutical companies. These are everyday parents that have participated in this program, the vaccine program, the vaccine schedule, who had full faith in the CDC, who had full trust in the CDC, who had full trust in their doctors. And when they participated and they found out they were lied to because their children had poison reactions to this vaccine, these are their testimonies. And they are all extremely similar from all over the nation.
And as a parent, Allie, to take that stance, to try to trust the experts. Listen, we were told we were the best moms,
right?
To stand in line for those injections so you can get your
You don't
child
want a
back to
dead
school.
child.
That's exactly
You
what
don't
they
want a
said.
dead child. How familiar does that sound?
Yep.
Does that sound familiar?
Yep. You don't want protect your grandparents. Don't be around them, right? Wear the mask, stand 6 feet apart. So the hugest issue and the reason why you have an RFK Jr. and the onslaught of people that are pushing him to keep going. It's all moms and parents, because when you tell a mom that they're doing the right thing by their child and then they find out, wait a minute, but my child had a reaction and now I'm trying to tell you that, and you're telling me I'm crazy and that I don't know and that I'm not. I mean, this is the same thing. The government knows best about your child. They're trying to say it in healthcare. They're trying to say it in education. We're not taking it anymore. And that's why they're coming down so hard on RFK Jr. I love how he pointed out in that Senate hearing to Elizabeth Warren. Yeah, I know you take almost $1 million in Pfizer funds. You know, this is why they're funded. This is a direct conflict of interest for them to have to be legislating about policy when they're making money off the back end. Thimerosal.
Well, it's crazy that in order for you to be a parent, this is what mandates do. In order for you to be a parent, you have to get your child vaccinated. You have to put them into public school where we can indoctrinate them in order for you to be a parent.
Yeah.
That is crazy to me. My children are my children. They do not belong to the government.
Even here in the state of Florida, when you have a child, in order to take your child home, I think this is still the case. It was as of 2 months ago. In order to take your child home, you have to have a pediatrician. Do you know how hard it is to still find pediatricians that won't mandate that you have, 13 different injections upon taking your child home? So we at the We the People Health and Wellness Center in Venice, just one of the locations that has pediatric help that will allow you as the parent to sit in the driver's seat of that. Of course, hopefully now with Joseph Ladapo as our Surgeon General here in Florida, that will change. They've been, their phones ringing off the hook because people just want the ability to say, hey, maybe we don't listen. If I am told to introduce one food at a time to my child in order to watch for a reaction, you can't tell me that 13 needles all at one time is a good idea.
And what's interesting too is that they say that these vaccines are safe and effective, yet they have never been studied individually by a double-blind placebo. They have only been studied against each other. So, for example, the HPV vaccine is studied against the hepatitis B vaccine, and they'll sit there and they'll say, "Well, there are no risks, right? It's safe and effective compared to this vaccine, but the adverse reactions are the same, or they're slightly different." And so they don't really have to necessarily bring any of that forward. And that is crazy to me because we have to give informed consent. That is part of the Nuremberg Code.
Yes.
If you are not, as a medical professional, providing, or a medical entity like the CDC, NIH, and all of these other things, FDA, if you are not providing it proper informed consent where you're giving all of this information and you're doing the gold standard, which is testing these products against a placebo, meaning a sugar pill.
That's how you follow the science.
That's how you follow science.
You
right?
do science.
That's how you do it. Now, we also have a comment by our favorite Laura Hartman. We love you.
We love you, Laura.
She's amazing. She said, Public Readiness and Emergency Preparedness, the PrEP Act, was signed into law by President George W. Bush on December 30th, 2005. So keep that up there. It's
on
just
both sides of the
yeah,
aisle.
it is. It's both sides. It's
Trump did speak at the two things. Well, we'll get to Trump. He's standing in the gap for our right to pray in school. He spoke at the Bible Museum in Washington, D.C. But I love our tech team. David in the control room says, hey, I have that clip of the Surgeon General. Can you play that clip for us, David?
Yes,
We'd love to
please.
see it.
But what I'm most excited about is an announcement that we're making now, which is that the Florida Department of Health, in partnership with the governor, is going to be working to end all vaccine mandates in Florida law. All of them. All of them.
Because mandates remove choice.
I get goosebumps.
Mandates is not freedom. It's not. You have a right to choose what medical procedures you want to participate in.
Which, as we wind down the show today, you have to understand, because we've worked a lot with the Florida Surgeon General, Joseph Ladapo, him and his wife, Brianna, and met their family, and they're wonderful people. But this is not just somebody who the governor appointed here in Florida standing up and doing his job. He is taking the arrows for this.
Yeah.
He is really taking the arrows for this, which brings us to our kind of last comment that we always make before we end the show. What are you going to do? I don't expect you to stand at a podium in front of the press corps and say, we're not mandating vaccines in the state of Florida. That's his lift. That's
Right.
the lift he's choosing to carry. But understand this, it costs something. So what are you willing to do? Do you have a phone? Do you have a cell phone? Can you call, make phone calls for candidates? Can you make phone calls to your senator? Can you send emails? Can you get on board a campaign for 2026 and maybe get the right governor, the right attorney general, the right school board candidate,
The right judges, the right county commission, the right city council, the right school board member.
Yes.
All of those things are very important. Freedom requires a very significant level of sacrifice. Your money, your time, your life, sometimes all three. What are you willing to put forward? What are you willing to sacrifice for your nation? It's not just our military members anymore. It is all of us. It is civilian and military as well. Private sector and civilian sector.
I say this sometimes, Allie, like I didn't serve in the military.
But we are serving now.
But yes, there is a way to serve. You've got a calling on your life. Make sure as long as you got air in your lungs, you've got something to do.
And hopefully we can round in these pediatricians to accept unvaccinated patients again.
If you'd like to get involved, guys, make sure you visit us, openmicladies.com, hit the contact button. Make sure you send us an email. We'll let you know how you can get plugged in right where you're at in your local municipalities. Guys, that's it
Don't
for
forget
us.
to join us tonight on Trump Tuesday on X Spaces, 8 p.m. sharp. You can follow Mark Naughton. He'll be up there.
His road report.
All right, you guys. We love you. Thank you for joining us. We'll talk to you tomorrow, bright and early.
Is high, inflation's up in the sky. Red hat stays on, red hat stays on. And I don't care how they look at me in the deepest heart of a blue city. Red hat stays on, red hat stays on. And I know when you smile, you like what you see. If you love America, you'll agree. Red hat stays on.